The script is an unusual one because it does fall between so many genres, fantasy, but it's quite dark realism. What was it that drew you both to?
The sentimentality, really, the thing that kind of I would naturally resist was the thing that drew me in. Sentimentality and the sweetness of it, and the fact that the film was devoid of any cynicism, or it was just kind of an unabashedly romantic look at the impermanence of life, but the permanence of love.
Well, it's a love story that's pretty timeless, but also it's magical realism, which is a genre that, although not wildly popular, is one that I like very much. The idea of sort of, bricks and mortar naturalism alternating with high fantasy is, for me, pretty exciting.
The fact that there was darkness in there as well, it sort of allows the lightness to fly even further. And just such a beautiful love story. Aside from all the other things that are in there, there just seemed to be such a connection between these two people. And
yeah, I was thinking that because you guys have to sell this incredible sort of epic, like century-spanning romance with actually fairly little screen time.
It was easy because Akiva wrote such beautiful scenes. From the opening scene that we had together to, there was only 5 or 6 or 7 scenes that we had, but each single one had this kind of, crystalline distillation of the essence of love in it somewhere. So it was easy, and we rehearsed a little bit for 2 weeks before we started shooting, and so there was a really light atmosphere on set.
Yeah,
there was a really light atmosphere. Akiva really established just a good energy on the set that it was a joy.
So when you were casting, obviously, finding actors who were willing to take a chance, I suppose, on a non-specific genre, was that a challenge?
The actors in the movie all responded to the screenplay, because it's a very particular kind of object. It's very sort of hard on its sleeve, emotional. It's not particularly cynical at all. And, I think that can be a fun thing for actors to do. And Colin, I think, was sort of typecasting, because Colin is kind of like a giant heart. He's all just sort of like, if he were, if he had arteries, he could just be beating. And so, he was very much sort of almost the prototypical thief with the heart of gold.
In this film, it's very much about people coming out of the shadows of their own experience. The shadow or the spectre that hangs over Jess's character is that of death. And the spectre that hangs over my character, and the shadow that he's lived in all his life, is one of displacement, of constantly feeling like he doesn't belong, of having an origin story but not feeling attached to it being too far-fetched. The guy put in a model boat and sent across the harbour to New York City. But he's never felt a sense of belonging. And so the two of them kind of pull each other out of the shadows of their own experience into what is a very bright light for a very short space of time.
And Jessica, playing someone with, I guess, obviously consumption, but because it is this kind of magical realist universe, how easy did you find it to sort of, just the physical practicalities of playing someone ill, but also in a fairy tale sort of way?
What I wanted to do was make it, to tie in with that magical element, to make it sort of almost unbelievable that this girl is so close to death. How can this woman be so close to death when she is so full of life and so full of hope and can still see that the world is beautiful? Why isn't she angry? Why isn't she sad? And I think a lot of that is because she's made peace with it already when Peter meets her. But I wanted that element, that sort of part, to be part of her, so that to allow then that love to take over and for it not to seem like it was out of pity or, that she's just going for it just because why not?
No, that definitely
Running out of time, it's like, oh, you'll do.
You're like, oh, fine, come in,
whatever.
have some tea.
My standards are low at this point.
Yeah,
exactly.
You'll do.